Welcome to the Midnight Mind. If you're new here, please subscribe. And while you're at it, hit the like button. It really does help the channel. It's midnight, and tonight we step inside the mind of Schopenhauer. All around us, life is driven by one relentless force: desire. We want, we chase, we strive. From the moment we wake, the mind leaps towards what it lacks: the next meal, the next achievement, the next possession. Even the smallest choices, what to wear, what to eat, what to say, are shaped by desire, and beneath it all lies a relentlessness that never sleeps. Schopenhauer called this the will, the blind, ceaseless energy that keeps life moving forward, yet never satisfied. Most people never notice how trapped they are by this circle. They mistake their satisfaction of one desire for freedom, but as soon as one is fulfilled, another rises. The hunger returns, the craving stirs, the restlessness begins again. Schopenhauer saw this as the essence of human suffering. To live is to want, and to want is to be chained. The chain may be made of gold, but it is a chain nonetheless. Think of the last time you longed for something: a promotion, a relationship, a new possession. The desire was sharp, insistent. You imagined that its fulfillment would bring peace, and when you finally achieved it, the peace was brief. The mind quickly turned to the next thing. The satisfaction faded, replaced by new hunger. This is the treadmill of craving, the prison of the will. Schopenhauer warned that unless you see it clearly, you will spend your life running in circles, confusing motion for progress. Earl Nightingale often said, "We become what we think about." If that's true, then most people become nothing more than their cravings. Their thoughts circle endlessly around what they lack, what they want, what they have not yet achieved. And because they become what they think about, they become restless, dissatisfied, and unhappy. To break this cycle, the mind must be trained not only to think, but to think differently. Schopenhauer's vision may seem bleak, but it holds the seed of freedom. Because if the source of suffering is craving, then the path to peace is freedom from craving. Not the fulfillment of every desire, but the release from desire itself. This is not passivity, it's clarity. It's the recognition that most of what we chase is an illusion, that the promised satisfaction is always temporary. When you see this clearly, the endless race begins to lose its grip. Look at society around you. Entire industries are built on inflaming desire. Advertising doesn't sell products, it sells cravings. Each image is designed to awaken a hunger in you, to make you restless with what you already have, to suggest that only by buying, upgrading, consuming, can you be whole. But the wholeness never arrives. You trade money for disappointment, time for emptiness, and then you reach the next promise. The cycle spins faster, the freedom drifts further away. This is why Schopenhauer admired the ascetics, the sages, the monks who turned their backs on endless craving. To him, they had glimpsed the truth, that freedom is not found in possession, but in detachment. The man who desires nothing cannot be manipulated, cannot be enslaved, cannot be disappointed. He may not be admired by the world, but he is at peace with himself. And peace, Schopenhauer believed, is the highest form of happiness. But how do we, in modern life, begin to loosen the chains of desire? The first step is to notice the cycle, to see that every fulfilled craving produces only another craving. Watch the mind as it moves. Notice the momentary thrill of achievement, followed by the restless search for the next goal. The more you observe, the clearer the pattern becomes. And once you see the pattern, you can begin to step outside it. This doesn't mean abandoning all ambition. It means refusing to be ruled by it. It means using desire as a tool, not allowing it to use you. Earl Nightingale taught that goals are necessary for direction, but goals pursued blindly can become prisons. The man who knows why he seeks something is free. The man who only seeks because he craves is trapped. The difference isn't in the pursuit, but in the awareness behind it. Schopenhauer's escape is not the denial of life, but the refusal to be consumed by its endless demands. He pointed to art, music, and contemplation as moments where the will is silenced. When you're absorbed in beauty, when you are lost in thought,
When you are fully present, desire fades. For a brief moment, you're no longer chasing, no longer restless, no longer incomplete. These glimpses of freedom point to a deeper possibility: the life freed from desire. This freedom will never come from the world. It can only come from the mind. It begins with seeing through the illusions that surround you. The illusion that happiness is one purchase away. The illusion that success will finally bring peace. The illusion that love, applause, or recognition will silence the restless will. They never do. They never can. For desire is not satisfied by fulfillment. It is only paused, then reborn stronger. To live unconsciously is to remain trapped in this cycle forever. To live consciously is to begin breaking it. Schopenhauer believed that the man who awakens to this truth gains a power that no external force can take away. He becomes free, not by having everything, but by no longer needing everything. And that freedom, rare though it is the closest thing to peace the human condition allows. If you want proof that craving dominates human life, simply look at the world around you. Cities are built as monuments to desire. Billboards light the streets with promises of pleasure. Shops overflow with things designed not to meet your needs, but to awaken new ones. The entire system of modern life is structured to keep you unsatisfied. If you were truly content, much of the economy would collapse. That's why society feeds on craving. It needs you restless. Schopenhauer argued that this restlessness is not a defect of society alone, but of human nature itself. He saw life as driven by the will, a blind, relentless force that pushes every creature to survive, to compete, to reproduce. In humans, the will manifests as endless ambition. We want not only food, but wealth, not only safety, but power, not only company, but recognition. And yet, each desire fulfilled only births another. The will never rests. Earl Nightingale would put it differently. He taught that the majority of people drift through life, pushed by circumstance instead of guided by intention. They confuse desire with purpose. They mistake restless wanting for meaningful direction. The result is a life spent chasing one craving after another, mistaking activity for progress. Nightingale warned that this is why so many reach the end of their lives with regret. They never distinguished what was essential from what was trivial. Consider the pattern of modern success. A young man works to build a career. He tells himself that once he earns enough, he will be happy. He earns the promotion, buys the house, and soon feels the same restlessness. Now he wants more. Another promotion, a bigger house, greater status. His ambition doesn't end, because it was never about fulfillment. It was about feeding the will. The more he feeds it, the hungrier it becomes. Schopenhauer's conclusion was stark. Satisfaction is an illusion. Even when we achieve what we want, it never delivers lasting peace. At best, desire gives way to boredom, a new form of suffering. The moment we are not striving, we feel empty. So we invent new cravings just to escape that emptiness. In this way, life swings endlessly between longing and boredom, with little space for real peace. To see this clearly is the beginning of liberation. But where Schopenhauer saw only tragedy, Nightingale pointed to opportunity. He believed that if you learn to direct your mind, you can transform restless craving into purposeful striving. The difference is discipline. Craving demands endlessly without reflection. Purpose chooses wisely with clarity. One enslaves, the other liberates. You cannot escape desire entirely, but you can decide which desires are worth your time. That decision is the foundation of freedom. Take money as an example. Craving says, I must have more no matter how much I already have. Purpose says, I will use money to build stability and freedom, but I will not let it own me. Craving says, I must be admired by everyone. Purpose says, I will build respect by living with integrity. Craving chases applause. Purpose seeks meaning. The actions may look similar on the surface, but one ends in emptiness and the other ends in peace. Schopenhauer believed that art, music, and philosophy offered temporary relief from craving. In those moments of deep reflection or beauty, the will is silenced. The restless self dissolves, and you experience life without the demand to possess or achieve. Nightingale would agree, but he would add that you must make such experiences a daily practice. Set aside time for silence, for reading, for absorbing ideas. These moments don't eliminate desire, but they give you space from its grip. Another form of escape lies in gratitude. Schopenhauer rarely spoke of it, but his ideas imply it. The will always focuses on what is missing. Gratitude shifts attention to what is present. Nightingale emphasised this often. To be thankful for what you have is to weaken the grip of craving. Gratitude doesn't stop ambition, but it grounds it. It reminds you that fulfillment is not always found in the next achievement. Sometimes it's found in appreciating the current one. Look carefully at those who seem most enslaved by craving. They're not the poor, but often the wealthy. They own more than most could dream of, yet remain restless. They accumulate but are never satisfied. They confuse abundance with peace, and the two are not the same. Schopenhauer saw this as proof that desire cannot be conquered by fulfillment. Nightingale saw it as proof that desire must be guided by thought, not impulse. The lesson is simple. Possession is never the answer. If you want freedom, you must create space between desire and action. Most people feel a craving with immediate obey. The craving says, buy this, eat this, chase this, and they comply without pause. Freedom begins in the pause. When you stop, reflect, and choose consciously, you reclaim your power. That pause is small, but it is everything. It's where craving loses its chains and becomes something else. Intention. The escape from endless craving doesn't mean withdrawal from life. It means living life with awareness. Schopenhauer's wisdom and Nightingale's discipline converge here. Recognize the hunger of the will, but refuse to be its slave. Desire will always whisper, but you don't always have to answer. And when you stop answering automatically, you begin to live freely. If we accept that craving is endless, the next question is how to live within it without being destroyed by it. Schopenhauer's answer was to step back from desire altogether. He admired the monks, the sages, who turned away from the world. To him, they represented the highest wisdom, freedom through renunciation. By denying desire, they silenced the will, and in that silence, they found peace. Yet for most of us, complete renunciation is neither possible nor desirable. We live in the world. We work, we love, we build, we create. Here, Nightingale provides the balance. He didn't deny desire, he redirected it. He taught that our thoughts shape our lives, and that by choosing what we think about, we choose what to become. In his words, we become what we think about. The key is to think deliberately, not drift in craving unconsciously. Freedom, then, is not in killing desire, but in mastering it. You must learn to separate the cravings that enslave from the purposes that strengthen. Schopenhauer warned that endless wanting leads only to suffering. Nightingale showed that focused striving leads to growth. The harmony lies in using desire as a tool, not as a master. Choose desires that serve your deeper values, and you turn the restless energy of the will into direction. One practical step is clarity of goals. Most people are driven by vague cravings, more money, more recognition, more comfort. They chase endlessly, never satisfied. But when you set clear, specific goals, you transform craving into purpose. A man who decides to build health, wisdom, or skill is not blindly feeding the will. He is shaping it, directing it, disciplining it. Purposeful desire liberates, but craving enslaves. Another step is the cultivation of presence. Schopenhauer believed art and music offered moments of release from desire because they brought the mind fully into the present. Nightingale would expand on this. Every moment of full attention silences craving. When you're absorbed in your work, your study, or a meaningful conversation, the hunger quiets. Practicing presence daily through reading, reflection, or silence weakens the constant pull of restless wanting. Gratitude is another antidote. Craving always looks forward to what it's missing. Gratitude anchors you in what is here. Nightingale often spoke of gratitude as the starting point of success, because it changes the lens through which you see the world. Schopenhauer would see it in a way to disarm the will, to shift focus away from endless lack. Gratitude interrupts the cycle, even if it's briefly, and it shows you that peace is not found only in the future. Consider also the role of discipline. Every craving tempts you to react immediately, to eat, to buy, to chase, to grasp. Discipline is the pause between impulse and action. In that pause lies freedom. Schopenhauer described freedom as rare because most are ruled by the will. Nightingale described discipline as the difference between drifting and leading. Both pointed to the same truth. Mastery begins in the moment you choose not to obey every desire. Solitude, too, is essential. Schopenhauer himself lived much of his life in solitude, finding in it the clarity that escapes those drowned by distraction. Nightingale would argue that solitude is where reflection becomes possible. A man who never sits quietly with his thoughts cannot hope to master them. Solitude does not eliminate desire, but it reveals it. It shows you which cravings are illusions and which are worth pursuing. The final step is acceptance. Schopenhauer saw life as suffering, and though Nightingale was more optimistic, both understood that no life is free from hardship. To expect endless satisfaction is to guarantee disappointment. To accept that craving will always whisper, and to live wisely in spite of it, is to find peace. You may not silence the will completely, but you can learn to live above it, no longer enslaved by its demands. So, what does it mean to be freed from desire? It doesn't mean having nothing. It doesn't mean abandoning life. It means living with awareness. It means refusing to mistake every craving for truth. It means shaping desire with discipline, directing it with purpose, and loosening its grip with gratitude and presence. It means carrying ambition lightly, enjoying beauty deeply, and never forgetting that peace is not found in possession, but in perspective. This is Schopenhauer's Escape, refined by Nightingale's discipline, to see through the illusion of endless craving, to recognize the will without obeying it blindly, to turn thought into a tool for freedom, not a servant of restlessness. And when you begin to live this way, the hunger that once ruled you becomes a background noise, no longer the master of your fate.
If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button for me. I really would appreciate it. And if you have any thoughts on today's episode, I'd love to hear them. Leave me a message down in the comments. If you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.